team or study indicating facial recognition works poorly on women, older, Black or Asian people. That's you and I. So in this case, we start us thinking, well, is it really as simple as that? I always, well, when I have my PhD student come to me, want to do a PhD, I said, oh, I can use this technique, that technique. And I always come back to the question, why and how you ensure that it's going to work. Well, it's so easy nowadays to just get a tool, load your data set, and then train it to come back. And then I see tons, thousands of paper, 100 paper talk about that as well. But really, you go back to the fundamentals question. How well you can trust those results. Is it really, you just simply have a data set, train it, and then you can say that this is going to be used for forever? I have my doubt. Anyway, so if I take a look from another aspect now, since the topic you're talking about the ethics for man and machine, or human and machine, so if you consider as a human, so as an engineer, I should really have the code of ethics. So this is our code of ethics. So it was just passed, well, updated in June 2020. I'm not going through all these. It's up to you to take a look. But I just highlight some part and how it, well, why is it that we have the problem with the system, with the computer you've seen earlier on? Because we are expected to treat all persons fairly and with respect to, not engage in discrimination based on the characteristics such as race, religion, gender, disability, age, national origins, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. So in other words, if I, as an engineer, I need to treat people like this, but how can, well, we claim I can use a machine and proven to be biased against the dark-skinned people, Asian people, older people, young women. So there's a potential issue in there. So that's exactly what we are facing in terms of the challenge and some of these applications. Same token apply to our other professional organizations like Engineering Australia, we also the same thing. So they have 4 points. Demonstrate integrity. What are integrity? We have to act based on the well-informed conscience. Our conscience must be clear, honest and trustworthy, respect the dignity of all people, or ALL. So that means that there should be no discrimination. There are some others on the professional practice as well, but the key things remain the same. Australian Computer Society also have a code of ethics, same thing as well. You're talking about you need to work the primary interest, the public interest should be the primary. How to improve the quality of life, to be honest, to be competent, to be professional development, and also provide, exhibit the professionalism. So all this, well, we can see that if I come out working as a profession, so as an academic, as an engineer, as a scientist, and all those things, so the question is, what should be our expectation on this so-called autonomous machine? Is it good enough? You just simply chuck it with a bunch of data, then you say it's good enough, then we can use it, we can apply it. So I would have some problem. So let's come back to what else IEEE have done. So IEEE have come up, well, you can check on this website called the Ethics in Action. So this one has been around for around 2 years now. So we have the input from the people, from professionals, or from the expert, from the industry. So they publish a number of guidelines and documents. In particular, the latest one is in terms of the AI, the standard. And also, well, I already encourage people to take a look at this ethically aligned, well, this. And this is what we encourage the development and the design process. You take you can download this entirely chart. One is quite a big document, 300 pages or so. It's very big. Take a look at some of these topics. These are some of the chapters talking about. You start off by looking at, well, how we come about, or what are the basic ethics is based on. Usually based on just a Western world type of philosophy or ethics, but also taking into account of the Western world as well. And then Eastern and West, culture is very for the time being used well properly that it should be, or really just simply because the government uses. And sustainable, and also in terms of the impact of the environment, and also how to embed these values into an autonomous system. So this comes to the work of our standard association. Well, we have already established whereby society and the technology interface, and also how to proactively address the contextual aspect of the technology, and also how to incorporate the participation, have a diversity and inclusiveness. So there are, framework has been developed. So I'm not going to spend time. I'll confess I'm not even an expert on this one, but I just come across this one, and I really feel passionate. I believe people can take a look at all the principles and also the suggestion in this particular document. So more importantly, a number of standards has already been proposed. So again, it's quite a lot to work on. So I'm not going to spend all this as well. But I just want to bring the awareness. Standards, well, so far, I think, the university, to me, that it seems to me that we have not covered enough on teaching students about standards. Because if you work on electrical engineering, well, you need to follow a certain standard. Well, you cannot just anyhow, even though you got a degree from the university, that's not sufficient. You need to follow the standards to develop the electricity, and you will develop the follow. How in other countries. So saying about to the technical aspect and also the social technology side as well. So IEEE has already developed all those. It's still at the beginning stage. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. I confess I'm not even an expert in this one, but I just want to draw people's attention to that. But more importantly, we also see in times to come, maybe there's a certification because so you have the ethics certification program for the autonomous and the intelligent systems. So to me, it's no difference compared to in times to come, just like treating quality assurance, okay, ISO standard. We're talking about all kinds of different standards. We do rely on the standard. Say, for example, for the food we eat, do you really want to eat food from somewhere that you're not even sure how it's being produced? Obviously, I would have a problem. So this will deal with things like transparency, accountability, and how to address the issue of the algorithm being biased. So come back to Australia. We also have our AI ethics framework as well. Again, you can download the whole document. So in general, just a principle, you're looking at the human, social, and environmental well-being. It needs to be human-oriented or centered. You need to be fair. You need to protect the privacy, the protection, and the security. You need to be reliable. You need to be safe. You need to be transparent. You need to be explainable. You need to be contestable. You also need to be accountable. So all these are the characteristics we would expect our system going to be. So I know my time is up. So actually I'm over time now. So as a summary, first of all, we can see the good thing is, well, AI, data science, and all the related disciplines will enjoy the growth in the job opportunities. As you have seen the figures, 50 million. And then the deployment of AI and for the autonomous and the intelligent system are expected to grow again in a small spectrum of applications. However, there are challenges because we're incorporating more and more of this machine in our human society. So we need to consider additional factors in addition just the functionality. It's not just because of facial recognition that is good enough. Well, we need to see how it's being applied, and we need to really ask ourselves, are the system being used ethically? It is important that such systems should abide with the expected ethical principle and the behavior of society in order to gain trust and acceptance. Because if we are not able to have the trust on those systems could be abused. And IEEE is leading the world by developing standards and certification to address the issue. So those are the things I just want to report and share.